Chapter 7. Fighting the Innate. Number 1. Number 1. Number 1. The countless cultivators who had won the Spirit Stones cheered, and the stands were abuzz with activity. Shoo, shoo. The formation diagrams on the surrounding walls steeply sprouted a red energy rope. Boom, boom. The energy ropes shot onto Guhai from afar in an instant, binding Guhai's limbs once again. Although Guhai had regained his cultivation, he simply couldn't break free. At the exit, the blue light disappeared, the man in black manipulated the formation diagram, and the red energy ropes quickly dragged Guhai back and tied him to a stone platform engraved with formation runes. Boom. A grey energy steeply emerged from the stone platform and rushed straight to Guhai's dantian. Buzz. Guhai felt a sharp pain in his dantian, and once again, he couldn't sense his true chi. The dantian true chi was once again sealed. Guhai's face turned ugly for a while. At this moment, the red energy rope faded away, and Guhai was once again bound by handcuffs and shackles. "Take it down and bring the second villain," the leading black-robed man said in a deep voice. Yes. Guhai was escorted back to the cell once again. While at the small window of the cell, it was possible to see the scene outside. The boar demon from earlier was also cleaned up. The second evil man made an appearance as well, but this second evil man, however, did not follow the norm, as if he had seen a familiar face as well. The moment his cultivation was restored, he shouted at the stands. "Tianyu, it's me, Genuine," the second villain steeply shouted out. "HMPH." A man in black let out a cold snort. Shoo. Steeply, a blue light rushed out from a formation diagram, charging straight at the place where the villain's mask was. Boom. The second evil man's head exploded with a loud bang. "All right, gentlemen, this evil person number 2 is disobedient, murderous, and lying, and he is still trying to compile lies in the Colosseum to compel the crowd. Obviously, he cannot be used as today's competitor. So let's look forward to evil person number 3. The host's voice sounded once again. "Genuine, impossible. Is that genuine?" Someone among the gamblers was surprised. But, very quickly, a group of black-clothed men took that gambler away. Guhai stood at the small window opening and coldly looked at the arena. "Dafengang. Heh, it's really well organized." The first day, the second day, 2 days were spent fighting beasts with people. The 16 villains fought separately. However, after one round, some of the villains died, some of the demonic beasts died, and there were still 8 villains left. However, one of them made Guhai's pupils shrink. That Scar, the Scar who had been fighting at every turn in the Evil Man Valley. It was actually a Jindan realm cultivation. Scar's cultivation was restored, and with a fierce release of his aura, he suppressed a leopard demon that didn't dare to resist, allowing Scar to step forward and tear that leopard demon alive. Scar is number 8. Number 8's aura was furious, and the gamblers on the stands hissed even more ferociously. Above the stands, the audience was growing. Guhai watched at Songjia Patriarch, but he had been sitting in the VIP seat, placing bets from time to time, obviously a better gambler. Day 3. Guhai, as the number 1 villain, was once again the first to be brought to the exit. "All right, fellow Taoists, the first 2 days of the fight, you have already seen almost everything. How strong are the 8 villains? You should all have a good idea. Now, it's the battle between the villains. Get your spirit stones ready. It's about to start. The first one, it's the No. 1 villain who tore the wild boar alive, and the 16th villain who forcefully chopped the bull demon. Please place your bets," the host bellowed once again. Clamor. Once again, countless gamblers began to place their bets. This time, the people who placed their bets were much more than the previous 2 days. We must know that spirit stones are incredibly precious to every cultivator. The previous 2 days were unknown. Naturally, they would not place their bets at will, but now that they have seen all the villains fight, they naturally have a good idea of what they are doing, and they must buy to win. Boom! Gu Hai and the other red-clothed villain were thrown on top of the square, once again struck by the electric current, breaking the seal. The two of them covered their dantian with a burst of pain. Wu, the red-clothed villain, raised his head once and looked towards Gu Hai, as if he wanted to endure the pain and sneak attack. However, Gu Hai also looked up at the same time. The sneak attack of the two broke for the time being. Number 1. Kill him, kill him. Number 16. I bet on you to win, kill him. Number 1. Number 16. Above the stands, the shouts of the gamblers who had placed their bets began to come. Above the VIP stands, Patriarch Songjia coldly looked inside the arena. Buy me 10 medium-grade spirit stones and bet on number 16 to win, Patriarch Songjia said in a cold voice. Yes, a patch of Defeng Clan's lotteries answered. In the past 2 days, Patriarch Song had bet many times, losing money on number 1 and winning money on number 16, so he naturally bet on number 16 at this moment. Quite prejudiced against number 1, Gu Hai's cultivation was restored, and he slowly stood up, looking coldly at the red-clothed villain opposite him. The red-clothed villain was the same as Gu Hai, staring at Gu Hai dead in the face at the moment. The two great villains confronted each other, both looking for a break in each other in general. The red-clothed villain suddenly let out an oozing cold laugh. So what if I'm new? You're not, Gu Hai said halfway. The red-clothed villain steeply shot towards Gu Hai like a discharged cannonball. Boom. Life and death combat. Never rules. It's either you die or I die. The questioning just now was just a distraction to lure the other party. However, with Gu Hai's mind, how could he be distracted? Gu Hai was also building up his strength as he spoke. In the split second that the red-clothed villain was charging, Gu Hai's left foot was in front and his right foot was behind, and he violently stomped. Boom! The same powerful impulse came out, and Gu Hai also shot out like a sharp arrow out of a string. In a short moment, the two of them were wrapped in true chi round their bodies, and the first intense impact began. Battle of life and death, never leave a hand, in an instant, as if two residual shadows collide and rise. Boom! A loud bang, the earth below rolled up a burst of smoke and dust, the four directions shouting steeply a stop, staring wide-eyed at the Colosseum. Boom! The red-clothed villain was steeply knocked back to steps by the impact. Obviously, the first round of impact, Gu Hai's power was greater. On the viewing platform, the people who had bought Gu Hai to win hadn't even had time to cheer. With an extremely fast reaction, the red-clothed villain instantly shot in front of Gu Hai once again with a step on the ground. You're actually this powerful. It shouldn't be. The red-clothed villain glared and roared. Boom, 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 boom. The red-robed villain threw out punches at an exceptionally fast speed. It was impossible to see where the fists were in general. One could only see the remnants of a fist, one by one. The fists cut through the void, as if it was a meteor, densely rushing towards Gu Hai. Boom, 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 boom. Fighting fast with fast, Gu Hai's speed of punches was also faster. The two of them grappled and immediately shocked countless cultivators who stared in disbelief. This is the innate realm, so fast. Are you kidding? I'm in the 8th level of the innate realm, and I don't even have such a fast punching speed. Indeed, they are wicked and ruthless. In the midst of the two great villains desperately comparing their speeds, for a while, there were so many remnants of their fists that it looked as if they suddenly had 10 extra arms. In the midst of the intensive collision, the faster Gu Hai fought, the red-clothed villain on the opposite side was also showing a fierce face. Innate realm. I am invincible. Roar. The red-clothed villain roared. Save your strength to die, Gu Hai coldly said. Rumble. The two fought extremely fast, separated in the twinkling of an eye. And in the twinkling of an eye, they fought together intensively, for a time. The earth below the Colosseum bloomed with endless smoke and dust. Sand and gravel were flying. Number 1, number 1, number 1. Number 16. 16. 16. Above the stands, countless gamblers have already seen red eyes. This kind of gambling is the most bloodthirsty, watching their own bets on the villains of the hearty battle, as if they were there in general. It is as if you are incarnated in one of them, fighting ferociously in general. To people fight, it was a very good fight. Gradually, the speed and strength of the two seemed to have reached their limits, and after a while of such a quick stalemate, the red-clothed villain was already sweating profusely. Boom, boom, steeply to loud bangs. Gu Hai's right palm wrapped around the red-clothed villain's left fist. The red-clothed villain's right palm wrapped around Gu Hai's left fist, and the two of them's furious battle came to an abrupt end. And suddenly, the stalemate was stalemated, and they spelled out their strength. The original frenzied battle stopped, changed to be like a top cow general each other on top of each other. To people who do not let, because everyone knows, this kind of top cow is the most dangerous. As long as there is a hint of slackness, the other party's power will all hit on their own body. They will be seriously injured. What a fast speed. This is the first time I've realized that someone's speed is comparable to mine. Innate realm, I should be the fastest. The red-clothed villain glared. Gu Hai coldly looked at the red-clothed villain and did not say anything. Ka 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 ka. A click 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 sound was emitted from where the fists and palms of the two were. The strength of the two was getting bigger and bigger. How is it possible, that fast? And your power is actually this great? The red-clothed villain was surprised. Gu Hai had a gloomy face and didn't reply, but continued to exert more force. Above the stands, countless gamblers clenched their fists and shouted for the villains they had bought bets on. This was the most exciting gamble. Even Patriarch Song Jia, at this moment, bowed his body and stared at the arena, whispering number 16 under his breath. The red-clothed villain's power seemed to have reached its limit. A grimace appeared on his face. It seems that you can't do it anymore, Gu Hai said in a cold voice. The red-clothed villain's eyes glared, and his mouth suddenly pouted. Gu Hai was slightly stunned. Pfft. A cloud of white stinging needles generally shot out of the red-clothed villain's mouth abruptly. Not good. Gu Hai's face changed, and he steeply twisted his head to dodge, while exerting a fierce force in his hand. Boom. The right palm blasted through the red-clothed villain's left fist, while transforming into a hand blade and thrusting within the red-clothed villain's heart. Boom. It seemed like the sound of bones bursting all over the body, and blood exploded out from the red-clothed villain's heart. The two of them instantly separated. Gu Hai's face was cut open with a bloody gash. The red-clothed villain, on the other hand, was covering his heart and fell to the ground. His heart was shattered by Gu Hai's power, and his entire body was about to die. Your power. It skyrocketed 3 times. You didn't do your best. The red-clothed villain looked at Gu Hai incredulously. Instead, Gu Hai wiped the blood from his face and walked not far away, picking up the concealed weapon that the red-clothed villain had spat out from the ground. Bones. Gu Hai's eyes narrowed. In the past few days, the food supplied in the cell, the red-clothed villain quietly sharpened a bone knife and hid it in his mouth for a life and death struggle. Earlier it was so close, so close, so close. Number 16 is dead. Number 1 wins. Number 1, number 1, number 1. Waves of shouts from the gamblers shot up to the sky. HMPH, number 1. Patriarch Song Jia, however, let out a cold snort, his face showing displeasure. Gu Hai carefully stowed away the bone knife and turned his head to look at the red-clothed villain, who had lost his voice. If this bone knife was poisonous, perhaps I would have died as well. Thank you for reminding me that I can't be careless at any time. Once I am careless, it's a loss of life. This bone knife, I'll put it away properly, and always remind myself of it. Gu Hai took a deep breath and said,